Good morning everybody, welcome back to Cilinix Crypto and welcome to this new video on Pepe. We had to do it, alright. Last time I covered this I was much too bearish. I mean, in my defense I never shorted it because no setup ever became valid, but ultimately over the last 2 days a massive amount of volume has come into Pepe, and the last time we saw this volume what happened was this, alright. Pepe, as you can see, rallied, continued rallying. I mean, we had most of the volume coming in right here for Pepe, and after that it still rallies about 110%, alright. So therefore, I think, generally, fundamentally, we have to be very bullish on Pepe right here. There's no guarantees, of course, and I do think, especially zooming in, we need to be a little bit not worried, but cautious. But ultimately, Pepe looks very good here, alright. On the higher time frames, Pepe has been able, with, like I said, volume we've only seen a couple of times so far. The last time being the 7th of April when we made the bottom right there. But before that, it was twice when we rallied a lot. So first of all, just judging based on the volume, we have to be quite bullish here. And then also technically, if we zoom all the way out, one of the most relevant key levels in my eyes for Pepe is this level right here, around 1000 and 1100, and that's obviously 1000. It's with all the decimals before that, so I'm going to say it one time, but it's 0.00001. All right, that's what I refer to as 1000. But we broke above that as well. Now, a couple of things. First of all, like I said, the volume and the structure break for me is enough to assume that we are going higher. And that more bullish momentum into at least the next price target right here at 1500, 1600 is to be expected. So that's another 15% move. That's quite conservative. I mean, breaking above that is a possibility as well, but I like to keep these analysis in these market circumstances quite short term. So we'll talk about that later. However, as you can see as well, is that we left a massive imbalance to the downside. On the daily time frame, there's a little one right here, but the other one starts towards 1100 and 1000. So what I do think you need to be aware of, especially with the reactivity of the markets to news, which you might say, well, why does US-China trade talk news matter for Pepe? Well, it does, all right? So therefore, you should be aware of the implications of that, and therefore I also think you should at least take into account that we can still have a pretty major spike down of about 20-30% before getting into that major resistance level as well. All right, so be aware of that. I would say down the line we can certainly expect a spike like that. At this point of time, the funding rates are not too high yet, so would I expect a flush? No. But like I said, I mean, if we get some bearish news, just be aware of that. And you can see that the funding rates right here are going up slightly more, okay? So if those funding rates keep increasing, at some point of time, we can have a flush. And a flush, for those of you who don't know what it looks like, if I can find an example real quick, is something like this, right? So here from the top to the bottom, spike down about 42%. So that can be pretty disastrous. So be aware of that, especially if you're trading with leverage. Short term this morning, there's still quite a lot of bullish momentum for meme coins. In the Signal group, we also traded some meme coins. We bought Nero, which is doing quite well, which if you're interested in that, the links will be down in the description. But no, I mean, this still looks good. There are some bearish divergences, which I think you need to be aware of, right? So with this move, the volume, the leverage, and the RSI are making lower highs, while the price is trying to make higher highs. So be aware of that, but short term definitely still looks like we're going higher. Main price target being that level right here between 1500 and let's say 1650, which I don't expect to break. And if the funding rate keeps increasing like this, you should be aware of a major spike down as well. But I think I'll keep you updated on that. Very short term, just as a bit of a note here. A very important level to watch is the high right here, right? So what very often happens, excuse the very messy charts by the way, but what very often happens is that we test those weak highs, and this is a weak high. So I assume that we're going to reach that level at 1400, and that afterwards we'll be able to hold this level right here at 1300 and 1280. Right? If for some reason we get a very strong rejection at those previous highs, then we could also just consolidate right here, right? So on the short term, the reaction to that previous spike is going to be crucial. Strong bearish reaction, and we might just stay stable up here for now. Otherwise, we'll get up to that target. But those are my thoughts for now. That's what I think you need to know. If you do have any questions, let me know down in the comments. But for now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.